Space was silent, empty. Endless darkness stretched between stars, broken only by the glimmer of distant suns. And yet, in that infinite black, one lone human ship drifted. Its hull was scarred, metal bent, and twisted from battles long past. Sparks flickered along its surface. The ship had survived more than anyone believed possible. Inside the command deck, alarms screamed. Red lights pulsed, warning of critical damage. The crew moved with practiced precision. Sweat streaked their faces. Every hand had a task. Every eye scanned the view screens. Shields failing in 3, 2, 1. The voice of the human captain said, calm but resolute. On the other side of the system, a massive alien fleet appeared. Thousands of ships, sleek and lethal, formed a crescent around the tiny human vessel. Their hulls glinted like polished obsidian, energy weapons charged, ready to fire. From orbit, the aliens laughed. "They are weak," one alien officer hissed. Its voice crackled through the fleet's comm network. "One human ship? It is nothing. Prepare the annihilator beam." The human captain did not flinch. On the bridge, a young officer glanced nervously at the screens. "They don't understand," he whispered. A moment later, the alien fleet fired. A beam of pure energy lanced through space, hitting the human ship with terrifying force. Explosions rocked the hull. Fire roared through corridors. Debris floated in zero gravity. The crew gritted their teeth and worked harder, but the damage was immense. "Abandon ship. Get to escape pods," the captain shouted. Pods were launched. Small, fast, designed to evade even the deadliest weapons. But the aliens were faster. They fired again, cutting through space and scoring direct hits. One by one, the pods were destroyed before they could reach safety. And then, silence. The human ship, the last symbol of Earth's defense in this sector, was gone. Nothing remained but drifting metal and smoke. The alien fleet pulsed with victorious energy. Their screens lit up with confirmation. One human ship destroyed. One problem solved. But the aliens did not see what was already in motion. Hidden in the shadows of the debris field, faint signals blinked. Sensors picked up tiny energy fluctuations, almost like whispers in the void. The aliens ignored them. They were too busy celebrating. "They are finished," the alien admiral declared. "No more resistance. Humanity is weak. Soon their worlds will fall." But the crew of the human ship had not been idle. Before the annihilation, they had triggered a sequence. Deep in space, hidden modules activated, sending encrypted signals across light years. Stealth drones emerged from the wreckage carrying strange devices. Devices the aliens had never seen. Devices that could change the tide of the galaxy. Far away, in an undisclosed location, another human fleet received the signals. The officers there studied the data. Eyes widened, smiles flickered, plans formed. "They think they have won," one officer said quietly, almost in disbelief. "But they have no idea what comes next." The camera of the story moves through space, showing the alien fleet in arrogant celebration. Yet behind the scenes, humanity's shadow moves. Ambushes are prepared, fleets are hidden, weapons are ready. Strategy unfolds like a game the aliens cannot even imagine. And somewhere deep in the black, a single thought resonates through the human command. Revenge. Precise. Ruthless. Perfect. The alien fleet does not see the storm coming. They have destroyed one human ship. They think the war is over. But in the silence of space, humanity waits. Watching. Planning. And the first strike will make the universe tremble. The suspense lingers. Every viewer now asks, how could a single destroyed ship lead to the downfall of a galaxy-spanning empire? The answer is coming, but not yet. The galaxy thought humans were finished. One ship destroyed, one small fleet shattered, and the alien empire celebrated. The alien officers gathered in the command tower of their flagship. Screens lit the dark room with images of victory. Planets fell into line. Colonies rejoiced under the promise of peace. Peace under alien control. "They are nothing," the admiral said, voice cold and confident. "We have wiped them out. Humanity is done." Yet far from the battlefield, in a hidden human base cloaked by asteroid fields, signals blinked urgently. The distress signal sent from the destroyed ship had arrived. A network of sensors had caught the faint echoes of human energy, impossible to detect without careful attention. "They're still alive," whispered one human officer, "and they left instruction for us." The officer tapped a control panel. A 3D star map expanded across the room. Red dots flickered, the coordinates of alien fleets, patrol routes, supply lines. Each dot was a target, each route a vulnerability. The humans had anticipated everything, even the arrogance of the aliens who believed they had won. On the alien side, nothing seemed unusual. Their sensors detected only the drifting wreckage of the destroyed ship. No one noticed the faint signals being traced back to secret human installations. They ignored the noise, confident that no human fleet could survive. Meanwhile, the humans prepared. Stealth ships, small and deadly, slipped from hidden bays. Weapons were armed. AI-driven systems ran simulations for the coming strike. Humans moved silently like ghosts in the dark. Every maneuver was calculated. Every plan anticipated alien reactions. "They think they've destroyed us," said the human commander, voice calm but fierce. "They have no idea what they just woke." Back in space, alien scouts reported nothing unusual. They passed by stealth drones undetected. Supply convoys continued without caution. Colonies felt safe. The galaxy believed the war was over. But humans were already striking. One by one, alien communications were intercepted and sabotaged. Supply ships vanished. Fleets were misdirected into empty sectors, wasting their power and patience. The first whispers of fear began to ripple through the alien empire, though they didn't understand why. In the hidden command center, humans watched. Every success, every alien mistake, was logged and analyzed. The plan was larger than any battle. The destroyed ship had been bait, a test to understand alien responses. And now, the humans were ready for the first true assault. A young officer asked, "Are we ready for them?" The commander's eyes were steady. "They will never know what hit them. One by one, their empire will crumble, all because they ignored a single signal." The camera pans across the galaxy. Stars shine cold and distant. Alien worlds appear peaceful. Humans are unseen. But the tension is building. Something is coming, something deadly. The audience feels it, the calm before the storm. Humanity is no longer weak. Their silence is louder than any fleet. The game has begun, and the alien empire has already lost, though they do not yet know it. The galaxy was silent, but only for a moment. The alien empire moved with confidence, their fleets patrolling space in a perfect order. Convoys of transport, ships glided between planets carrying supplies, weapons, and reinforcements. Their battleships hummed with energy, powerful enough to obliterate entire human colonies. Every alien soldier, every officer, every general believed humanity was gone. One destroyed ship, and the galaxy thought the war was over. They were wrong. Hidden in the shadow of a dying star, a small group of human ships waited. They were battered, yes, and small compared to the alien fleet, but every ship was armed with precision weapons, cloaking fields, and AI-guided tactics no alien mind had ever encountered. These were not ordinary human ships, they were killers in the dark, designed for one purpose: revenge. The commander of this ghost fleet stood on the bridge of the lead ship, eyes fixed on the star map. Every red dot on the display represented an alien ship. Every green dot represented a potential ambush point. Humans had studied the aliens' patrol patterns, every habit, every predictable reaction. They knew where the weaknesses were. "Targets confirmed," the commander said quietly. "All ships ready. Initiate the strike." The stealth systems hummed to life. Human ships melted into the blackness of space, invisible to even the most sensitive alien sensors. They moved like shadows, silent and deadly, drifting closer to their prey. Somewhere, In the distance, an alien scout ship glided through the void. Its sensors swept the darkness looking for threats, but it detected nothing. The human ghost fleet had been perfectly hidden, waiting for the right moment. And then it began. The first strike was almost theatrical in its precision. A single alien transport ship, carrying reinforcements to a nearby colony, disappeared in a flash of light. Explosions tore through its hull, and in seconds the entire crew was gone. Other alien ships nearby scrambled, scanning frantically for the source of the attack. "There! Over there!" an alien officer shouted, pointing at nothing. The sensors showed no threat. The alien fleets began to panic, sending out signals to each other. The humans had planned this. Their cloaking devices blocked all incoming scans. The attacks were not random, they were surgical. A small team of human ships struck the enemy supply lines, cutting them off from their bases. Another group disabled the communications of a massive fleet, leaving the aliens blind and uncoordinated. The aliens were not prepared for a war they could not see. Their arrogance became their weakness. "This is impossible," an alien admiral hissed. "There should be no humans left, no fleet, nothing." Meanwhile, the human commander watched the chaos unfold on his holographic displays. Every alien movement was anticipated, every response predicted. The humans were not just fighting, they were controlling the battlefield. "They have no idea what's coming next," said a young officer at his side, her voice trembling with excitement. "Every move we make, they think it's a ghost." The human commander nodded. "Let them panic. Let them fear. The mind is as fragile as any weapon." For hours the ambush continued. Alien supply convoys vanished. Fleets were caught in traps, forced to retreat or face destruction. Every attack was swift, leaving no trace. Every human ship melted back into darkness before the aliens could respond. In a distant alien world, a governor watched the news feed in disbelief. Reports of missing fleets and destroyed colonies streamed in. Panic spread among the civilian population. Merchants, workers, even soldiers began questioning their leaders. The humans, thought to be extinct, were not only alive but had become an unstoppable force. Back in the alien fleet, mistakes multiplied. Ships collided while attempting evasive maneuvers. Communications were delayed or lost entirely. Commanders argued, blaming one another for failures. Fear began to infect even the bravest soldiers. The human commander smiled faintly. He did not shout orders or boast. Every human on his fleet knew their role. Every plan had been rehearsed in simulations hundreds of times. Humans were not just fighting, they were teaching the aliens a lesson in strategy, precision, and fear. Hours passed. Entire alien patrols had vanished. Key supply routes were cut. Colonies were isolated. The Empire was beginning to fracture, and then the humans struck the first shock. A massive alien battleship, one of the largest in the fleet, appeared near the edge of a gas giant system. Its hull bristled with weapons, engines glowing with lethal energy. It should have been untouchable, but the human ghost fleet had waited for this moment. Every ship moved in perfect synchronization. Cloaked fighters darted around the larger ship, firing precision missiles at critical weak points. Energy beams tore through shields, exploiting gaps humans had identified months before. The alien battleship fired blindly into space, trying to hit unseen enemies. But the humans were gone. One by one, the ship's weapon systems failed. Engines exploded. Fires raged through the corridors. In minutes, the once mighty battleship was nothing more than debris drifting in the void. On the alien flagship, the admiral watched the destruction in disbelief. His voice shook. "What? How? This cannot be. Humans are gone!" But the humans were not gone. They were everywhere and nowhere, striking from shadows, using the galaxy itself as cover. They had become the nightmare of every alien commander. By the end of the day, reports arrived from every sector. Missing ships, destroyed supply lines, crippled fleets. Panic gripped the alien empire. For the first time in history, humans were the hunters and the aliens were the prey. Yet the humans did not celebrate. Their commander stood silently, watching the star maps flicker with incoming reports. There was no joy, only focus. The war was far from over, and every success had been carefully calculated to serve a greater purpose. "Prepare for the next strike," he said. His voice was calm but carried authority that echoed across the fleet. "The galaxy is about to learn what humanity truly is." Hours later, the aliens began sending out reinforcements. Fleets were being redirected, planets fortified, but humans were already there, waiting in the shadows. Every route was monitored. Every weakness was known. Ambushes were set like traps across multiple star systems. The humans were not merely fighting a battle. They were dismantling an empire from the inside. Their tactics combined stealth, precision, and intelligence. Every alien move was anticipated, every reaction predicted. By nightfall, the alien empire had begun to fracture. Generals blamed each other. Soldiers lost hope. The human's name was spoken in fear. Legends of a ghost fleet spread quickly. The galaxy, once certain of humanity's demise, now whispered of a power that could not be seen and could not be stopped. And somewhere, deep in space, the commander looked at his crew. They had survived the impossible. They had turned the tide with nothing but skill, courage, and cunning. "Remember this day," he said softly. "The galaxy thought humans were weak. They were wrong. From now on, every empire will know. Humanity cannot be ignored." The ghost fleet moved again, disappearing into the blackness of space. The aliens had no idea where they were going. They did not know when they would strike. But the fear had begun. And fear, the commander knew, was the first weapon in war. The stage was set. The humans had emerged from the shadows, powerful and deadly. The alien empire would never forget the day the ghosts returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The halls of the alien empire's central council were quiet. At first, high above the main fleet in the imperial citadel orbiting the core world, the greatest leaders of the empire had gathered. The council chamber was massive, lined with towering windows that looked out into the stars. Dozens of alien dignitaries, generals, and ministers crowded the room, their armor glinting under the artificial lights. The emperor, a figure of immense stature and fear, sat on a throne carved from blackened star metal. His eyes scanned the chamber, calm but sharp. "Report," the emperor said. His voice echoed through the hall. The chief admiral stepped forward, trembling slightly. "Your Majesty, the human threat, it is not gone. We have lost several fleets and supply convoys are being destroyed. They strike and vanish without warning." A murmur swept through the chamber. Some council members gasped. Others leaned forward, disbelief written across their faces. "This is impossible," one minister said. "Humanity was destroyed long ago. One ship destroyed, and yet you tell me they strike again? How?" The chief admiral swallowed. "We do not know, my lord. It is as if they are ghosts. Every fleet we send is ambushed. Every patrol disappears. We cannot detect them. Their attacks are precise, surgical. They strike where we are weakest, then vanish." The emperor's eyes narrowed. Impossible does not exist in the galaxy. If humans are alive, then someone has made a terrible mistake. But within the council, fear was growing. It crept like a poison. Generals whispered to each other. Ministers argued quietly, but the emperor's presence stilled the room. Every council member knew one thing: failure was death. And now failure loomed over them like a black star. "Bring me the maps," the emperor demanded. "Show me their strikes." Holographic star maps projected into the center of the chamber. Red dots marked destroyed fleets. Supply lines were severed. Alien colonies had reported missing convoys. The Empire's vast network of communication and supply was being dismantled with terrifying precision. A younger counselor leaned forward, voice trembling. "Your Majesty, perhaps we underestimated them. Perhaps humanity is not gone. Perhaps—" "Silence," the Emperor snapped. The room went still. "We underestimated nothing. Humans were weak. One ship destroyed. That was all it took. And yet, if these reports are true, then we face something beyond understanding." The council descended into chaos. Factions argued over what to do. Some suggested immediate retaliation. Mass fleets moving to hunt every human trace. Others argued for defensive measures, fortifying planets and tightening patrols. But every idea seemed inadequate. Every strategy faltered before the truth. The humans were unpredictable. Meanwhile, far from the council, the human fleet waited in silence. They observed, analyzed, and planned. Every alien move was anticipated. Every hesitation, every debate, every panic-stricken decision would play right into human hands. Back in the council chamber, the Emperor leaned forward. "We will crush them. Send every available fleet. Burn every sector. Hunt every ghost." Orders were sent instantly. Fleets mobilized and warships fired their engines toward predicted human positions. But humans were already there, or more accurately, nowhere. They moved through dark space like shadows, appearing only when and where they chose. Entire alien divisions were ambushed, crippled before their leaders even realized an attack had occurred. The Council received reports in real time, and panic spread like wildfire. One admiral accused another of negligence. Ministers blamed generals. The Emperor's face remained cold, but his eyes betrayed tension. "How do they strike without being seen?" demanded a senior minister. "How do they vanish before we even know they are there?" "They use stealth tactics. Intelligence we cannot comprehend," whispered a veteran general. "They have prepared for this. Every ambush is perfect. They know our weaknesses." The Emperor slammed his clawed hand onto the armrest of his throne. "Enough, we will not fail. We will strike harder, faster, stronger. Humanity will pay for this insolence." But the Council's fear had already begun to erode obedience. Officers questioned commands. Factions formed, each trying to seize control of fleets independently. Alien colonies, seeing gaps in communication and weakened defenses, began to panic. Entire populations fled to inner systems. Supply lines broke down. The empire that had once been a monolith now teetered on the edge of chaos. Meanwhile, the humans prepared their next move. In hidden command centers, they watched the alien panic unfold. Every fleet misstep, every delay, every argument was documented. Humans did not need brute force, they used the enemy's mistakes against them. The Empire's fear became the weapon, sharpened with precision and cunning. A young human officer leaned over the table. "Sir, they are moving faster than we predicted. Their fleets are splitting. Their colonies are vulnerable." The commander nodded. "Good, let them scatter. Let them fight themselves." The first strike was only the beginning. Now the Empire is unraveling from within. Our next moves will ensure it collapses completely. For days, the humans struck again and again. Supply convoys were destroyed with surgical precision. Communications hubs on distant planets were sabotaged, leaving sectors blind and isolated. Alien generals moved fleets desperately, only to fall into traps. Strategic planets were cut off from reinforcements. Panic spread faster than the human strikes themselves. The Alien Council convened multiple times, yet no solution came. Their fleets were too slow. Their strategies were too rigid. And humans, invisible and patient, struck from every angle. In one sector, a massive alien supply fleet attempted to flee to safety. Cloaked human fighters struck silently. Energy beams tore through hulls. Explosions ripped ships apart, and before the aliens could react, the fleet was gone. No survivors, no evidence. Just empty space. Reports from other sectors echoed the same story. Entire fleets vanished without warning. Colonies reported attacks that seemed impossible. Ships appearing from nowhere, disappearing without trace. Alien morale collapsed. Factions in the Council argued openly, accusing each other of treachery. The Emperor's authority weakened. Even the outer colonies, once loyal, began to question their leadership. Rumors of human power spread like fire. Tales of invisible fleets, devastating strikes, and unstoppable cunning created fear and awe in equal measure. Back in the human command center, the commander watched the reports with cold satisfaction. "They do not understand yet," he said. "Their fear is growing. Every strike teaches them weakness. Every decision leads them closer to collapse." The human fleet prepared for a decisive operation, a strike not just on ships or convoys, but on the Empire itself. The plan was simple yet terrifying. Isolate the Council's power, cut communications across multiple systems, and force the Empire to fight itself while humans remained invisible. The Council debated strategy once more, unaware that the humans had already predicted their every move. Alien ships raced across star systems, trying to intercept ghost fleets, but every effort was anticipated and countered. In a central command room, a young alien officer whispered to her superior, "Sir, they are ghosts. They strike where we are weakest, then vanish. We cannot stop them." The superior officer looked grim. "We must regroup. We must strike harder, or the Empire will fall," but it was too late. The humans had learned their patterns, studied their habits, and predicted their weaknesses. Each movement of the Empire played into human hands. Isolated fleets were destroyed, supply lines severed, colonies cut off, and still the humans remained unseen, unstoppable, and unrelenting. By the end of the first week, the Alien Council was fractured beyond repair. Generals argued. Ministers plotted against one another. The Emperor's orders were ignored. Chaos reigned across multiple star systems. The humans, watching from the shadows, had not fired a single shot directly at the Emperor, yet his empire was already crumbling. The commander addressed his crew. Humanity has returned, not to conquer, not to negotiate, but to show the galaxy that no empire can underestimate us. Every move we make, every strike we plan, teaches them the cost of arrogance. And the cost is total destruction. The Ghost Fleet prepared for the next phase. The Council, desperate, began sending fleets to sectors where humans were not. Panic spread further. The humans had forced the alien empire into a corner. Every action the aliens took only accelerated their collapse, and the galaxy began to whisper. Tales of the invisible humans. Ghost fleets that struck from nowhere. Plans so precise that even the most powerful empire could not survive. Fear became a weapon as deadly as lasers, faster than any missile. The Emperor's voice rang out in the council chamber. We will not fall. Humanity cannot challenge the might of this empire. But even he could feel it. The doubt creeping in. The panic, the fear. The knowledge that every fleet lost, every colony isolated, and every plan foiled was a result of an enemy who should not exist. Yet did. From the shadows, humanity waited, silent. They had proven they could strike. They had shown they could dismantle fleets without being seen. And now, the Council's panic would serve as the perfect battlefield for the Empire's ultimate collapse. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. It would never happen again. The galaxy had changed, though the aliens did not yet understand it. Fear had begun to spread across their empire like wildfire, but humans were still shadows, silent, unseen, and deadly. The alien fleet scrambled, trying to anticipate where the next human strike would come. Communications were filled with panic. Fleets moved in desperate formations, and colonies braced for attacks that might never come. Yet humans were already there, waiting. Hidden behind the edges of a dense asteroid belt, the human fleet gathered. Their ships were small compared to the massive alien battleships, but every vessel was armed with deadly precision weapons. Each ship had cloaking fields, AI-guided targeting, and stealth drones designed to infiltrate enemy lines. What the aliens saw as weak and insignificant was, in reality, a storm waiting to strike. The human commander stood on the bridge of the lead ship, calm and focused. Holographic star maps floated above the control console, red dots marking alien fleets, green dots marking vulnerable colonies, and blue markers showing the perfect paths of human assault. Every move of the enemy had been predicted, every weakness calculated. This is it, the commander said quietly. The turning point. We strike now and the Empire begins to fall. The crew prepared. Fighters ran through final checks. Missiles armed silently. Energy cannons hummed with a deadly low vibration. Every human knew their role. Every strike rehearsed and timed to perfection. Hours later, the alien fleet appeared on the horizon. A massive formation of battleships, cruisers, and patrol vessels, glinting in the light of a distant sun. The aliens were confident, as always. They believed the humans were scattered, remnants hiding on the fringes of space. They were wrong. They have regrouped, said an alien admiral to the Emperor. I see signs of new activity, but it is small. We can crush them. The Emperor's eyes glinted. Then crush them. Show them what it means to defy the Empire. But as the alien fleets moved forward, the humans initiated their plan. The first strike came from shadows. Cloaked human fighters darted out from hidden positions, striking the rear of the alien formation. Missiles tore through engines, exploding ships that were supposed to be invincible. Energy beams sliced through shields, crippling cruisers in seconds. The aliens panicked. Orders flew across the fleet. Attack, fire everything. Find them! But the humans were already gone. They had struck and vanished before the first volley even reached them. The commander smiled faintly. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for Phase 2. Phase 2 was even more devastating. The human fleet split into multiple attack vectors. One group targeted supply lines, ensuring the alien fleet could not resupply or retreat. Another group attacked communication hubs on nearby moons, cutting off coordination across the entire sector. And the largest human contingent prepared for the main assault, the heart of the alien fleet. As the humans approached, the alien fleet realized the magnitude of the threat. They are attacking from every side. shouted a general. "They are everywhere." But humans were precise. Every strike was planned to exploit weaknesses the aliens did not know existed. Battleships fell to swarms of fighters, cruisers were disabled before their shields could respond, and supply ships were destroyed silently. Entire formations collapsed in minutes. The alien emperor watched from his throne world. His face was stone, but his eyes betrayed something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. How can one species do this?" he whispered. The humans had anticipated his question. They did not attack the throne world directly. That would be reckless. Instead, they focused on crippling his fleet, isolating him from reinforcements and sowing chaos across the empire. Every human ship acted like a single mind, coordinated perfectly. Hours turned into a day. The alien fleet was in full retreat, battered and confused. Supplies were lost. Ships were destroyed. Colonies were isolated. And still the humans remained unseen, striking from shadows, moving faster than the aliens could track. In one daring maneuver, a small group of human ships cloaked behind a gas giant. From there, they launched a coordinated attack on a massive alien battleship, the largest in the sector, bristling with weapons. Cloaked fighters struck from every angle, energy beams tearing through shields, missiles targeted engine cores. The ship fought back, firing blindly into space, but the humans were gone before it could land a single hit. When the smoke cleared, the battleship was drifting in pieces. Hundreds of alien crew members were lost. Across the galaxy, news of this victory spread instantly, demoralizing the Empire further. Fear began to replace arrogance, yet humans did not celebrate. Their commander knew the battle had been won, but the war was far from over. "This is the first turning point," he said. "The Empire is weak, fractured, and afraid. We must continue. No hesitation, no mercy. One strike, one moment at a time until the galaxy remembers humanity." The Alien Council tried to respond. Reinforcements were sent, but humans had already predicted their movements. Every fleet was intercepted, ambushed, or misdirected. Colonies tried to fortify themselves, but humans used stealth drones and AI simulations to bypass defenses. Every alien reaction played directly into human strategy. Across the galaxy, fear spread like wildfire. Soldiers questioned orders. Generals argued with admirals. Colonies began preparing for evacuation. The empire that had once believed itself invincible was now crumbling under invisible blows. The humans' most brilliant strategy, however, was psychological. They did not just destroy fleets, they used fear as a weapon. Ambushes were designed to seem impossible. Supply lines were cut in ways that made the aliens believe humans were everywhere, striking at will. Each attack was as much about breaking the Empire's will as it was about destroying ships. A young human officer watched the reports of alien panic, shaking his head in disbelief. "They can't believe it. They can't even see us, yet they're losing everything." The commander's eyes were cold. "They will learn soon enough. Every empire underestimates humanity, until it is too late." By the end of the second day, the aliens had lost nearly a quarter of their fleet in the sector. Their supply lines were in ruins. Communication hubs were offline. Colonies were isolated, and fear spread faster than the humans could attack. Entire fleets were retreating, unsure where humans might strike next. The humans prepared for the final blow in this sector, a decisive strike at the core of the alien fleet. Hundreds of human ships moved in perfect coordination. Cloaking fields hid them until the moment of attack. Every weapon was ready, every maneuver rehearsed. The attack began just as the alien fleet attempted to regroup. Human fighters darted between ships like shadows. Missiles targeted critical points. Energy beams tore through shields. Battleships fell one by one. Panic spread across the alien command. Orders were ignored. The fleet fractured, retreating into space in disarray. The Emperor watched helplessly. He realized for the first time that the humans were not just fighting. They were winning. Entire fleets had vanished. Supply lines were gone. Colonies were isolated. And still the humans remained unseen, untouchable, perfect predators in the dark. Finally, the human commander addressed his fleet. "The first turning point is complete. The Empire knows fear. Their fleets scatter. Their colonies tremble. And they do not yet know who they are facing. Humanity has returned, not to negotiate, not to beg, but to show the galaxy that no one underestimates us twice." The ghost fleet melted into the darkness once more. The Empire was in chaos. Panic, fear, and confusion had taken hold, and humanity waited, patient, silent, ready to strike again. This was not a battle. This was the beginning of a war the aliens could never win. Humanity had turned the tide. The galaxy would soon learn that humans, once underestimated, were unstoppable. The alien empire had never felt fear like this before. Entire fleets vanished without warning. Colonies were cut off. Communications failed. What had started as whispers of impossible strikes had now turned into a chorus of terror, echoing through every sector. Yet despite all the chaos, the Emperor still clung to the belief that humans were scattered, weak and fragmented. He was wrong. Far from the Imperial core, the human ghost fleet moved like shadows across space. Every ship, every crew, every weapon was in position. Humans were no longer just ambushing isolated convoys. They were striking at the very arteries of the Empire. Supply lines, military bases, communication hubs, and planetary defenses were being dismantled with terrifying precision. Every move the aliens made was anticipated, exploited, and turned into an advantage. "This is the moment," the human commander said calmly. His voice, steady and cold, carried the weight of authority. "We have prepared for this. Every fleet, every base, every colony. We strike now and their empire begins to fall." Behind him, officers double-checked weapon systems, monitored star maps, and calculated attack trajectories. Cloaking devices hummed softly. Engines waited silently, and AI guidance systems ran final simulations. Humans were ready. The first strike came silently. Across multiple sectors, human ships appeared from the shadows and attacked alien supply fleets. Energy beams tore through shields, missiles struck engines, and entire divisions were obliterated before the enemy even realized what had happened. Fleets that had once felt untouchable were now reduced to debris drifting in space. The alien council was in chaos. Generals shouted orders at one another, blaming failures, miscommunication, and perceived betrayals. Colonies reported attacks on planets thought secure. Panic spread faster than any human attack. The Empire, once unified and powerful, was fracturing. The Emperor slammed his clawed hand on the armrest of his throne. "Enough," he roared. "We will destroy every human. Send all fleets to their last known coordinates." But humans were not there. They never had been. Every strike had been carefully calculated. Every attack had been anticipated. The Empire was moving blindly into traps that had been set months ago, before the first human ship had even been destroyed. Across a cluster of star systems, a massive alien fleet attempted to regroup. They thought sheer numbers could intimidate the humans. They were wrong. Human fighters struck from hidden positions. Energy cannons tore through hulls, and coordinated attacks crippled the command ships. Panic spread from ship to ship. Orders were ignored. Communication lines failed. Even the bravest captains could not recover from the surprise, precision, and ruthlessness of the human strikes. One massive alien battleship, bristling with weapons, attempted to retaliate. It fired blindly into the void, hoping to catch a human vessel. But humans were already gone, melted into shadows. Cloaked fighters darted around its hull, targeting weak points, disabling engines, and striking critical systems. Within minutes, the once feared battleship drifted in pieces. Hundreds of alien crew members were lost, their screams silenced in the void. The news spread quickly. Across the Empire, colonies and fleets realized they were facing an enemy unlike any they had imagined. Humans were not only survivors, they were predators. Invisible, unstoppable, and intelligent beyond comprehension. Entire sectors fell into panic. Armies were demoralized. Fleets refused orders. Cities fortified themselves against attacks that seemed impossible. The Empire was unraveling before its own eyes. The human commander monitored everything from the Ghost Fleet's command ship. Every message, every movement, every reaction of the aliens was observed and recorded. Every mistake they made was exploited. Every hesitation amplified. Humans were not just fighting, they were controlling the battlefield. A young officer looked up from the tactical displays. "Sir, their fleets are collapsing faster than we predicted. Entire sectors are isolated. Colonies are begging for reinforcements." The commander nodded. "Good, let them scatter. Let them panic. The more they fear, the easier the next phase will be. Humanity does not need to destroy every ship directly. Fear will do most of the work for us." The Ghost Fleet then moved into the next phase. Humans targeted command centers, communication arrays, and planetary defenses. Ships that had once seemed indestructible were disabled with surgical strikes.
Energy cannons cut through shields.
Missiles crippled engines. Drones infiltrated orbital stations, sabotaging key systems from the inside. In one system, the aliens attempted a desperate counterattack. Hundreds of ships formed a tight formation around a strategic planet. They believed they could trap the human fleet, but the humans had anticipated this. Cloaked fighters appeared behind their formation. Energy beams tore through the fleet. Missiles struck command ships. Engines exploded, sending massive vessels spinning into space. Within hours, the entire fleet was gone. No survivors, no escape, only silence. Across the Empire, the pattern repeated. Each strike weakened the aliens further. Commanders argued. Colonies panicked. Fleet after fleet was destroyed or disabled. The Emperor's authority, once absolute, was slipping. On his throne world, the Emperor stared at the holographic displays. Entire fleets had vanished. Supply lines were broken. Colonies were isolated. Panic spread from one sector to the next. He realized for the first time in centuries that humans were not only alive, they were unstoppable. He sent orders frantically, trying to regroup what remained of his forces. But it was too late. Humans had predicted every move. Fleets were ambushed. Communication hubs were destroyed. Colonies fell into chaos. The Empire was collapsing from within, faster than any external attack could achieve. Meanwhile, the human commander watched calmly. "The Empire will fall," he said softly. "They cannot survive what they cannot see. They cannot fight an enemy they do not understand. And they cannot fight an enemy that moves as one, strikes as one, and disappears as one." The Ghost Fleet moved again. Entire alien sectors were isolated. Fleets that had survived earlier attacks were now trapped, surrounded by hidden human forces. Supply lines were cut. Planets were cut off from reinforcements. The alien empire, once powerful and proud, was collapsing like a house of cards in the wind. In one daring maneuver, a small group of human ships infiltrated the Emperor's inner system. Cloaked and silent, they bypassed planetary defenses, energy shields, and orbital cannons. They struck at command centers and military installations. Explosions ripped through orbital stations. Communication arrays went offline. The Empire's heart was being destroyed without the Emperor even seeing the hand of the humans at work. Panic spread to the alien council. Generals shouted at one another. Ministers argued. Fleet commanders lost hope. Entire colonies prepared to surrender. The once proud Empire had no choice but to watch as its power crumbled. By the end of the week, entire alien sectors were in human control. Fleets were destroyed or trapped, supply lines severed, colonies isolated. Fear spread faster than destruction. Humans had achieved what no one thought possible. The alien empire, galaxy-spanning and ancient, was collapsing under the shadow of a fleet no one could see. The human commander addressed his crew. "We are not done. The empire will continue to collapse, but we must move with precision. Every strike must be calculated. Every move must be planned. This is how humans survive, and how they dominate. Fear, intelligence, and patience will finish what history began." The Ghost Fleet melted into the void again, invisible and untouchable. Across the Empire, ships tried to flee. Planets tried to prepare defenses. But humans were everywhere and nowhere, striking with precision, fear, and intelligence. The Empire was falling, one sector at a time. In the Emperor's throne room, his eyes burned with anger and disbelief. He realized that humanity, thought to be destroyed with one ship, had returned as a force beyond reckoning. He understood at last the terrible truth. No empire, no matter how powerful, could withstand the cunning, patience, and precision of humans. And the galaxy watched in awe. Legends of the Ghost Fleet spread faster than any battle. Tales of invisible human ships, unstoppable strategies, and precision strikes inspired both fear and wonder across alien civilizations. Humanity had returned. Humanity had struck. And humanity would not stop. The fall of the Empire had begun. And this was only the beginning. The alien empire had been bleeding for weeks, yet the Emperor refused to admit defeat. His fleets were fractured, supply lines severed, and colonies isolated, but he clung to one last hope. A massive fleet, the largest ever assembled in centuries, would crush the humans in a single decisive battle. "This is our final chance," the Emperor declared in the council chamber, his voice echoing like rolling thunder. "Every fleet in the outer systems will converge. We will wipe humanity from the stars. If this fails, then the Empire falls and all is lost. Generals, admirals, and ministers bowed, though their faces betrayed fear. Even they could not deny the damage humans had already inflicted. Fleets vanished without warning. Supply lines disappeared. Colonies once loyal now teetered on rebellion. And always the humans struck from the shadows, unseen, unstoppable. The humans, meanwhile, anticipated the Emperor's desperate move. From hidden command centers and cloaked ships, they monitored alien movements. Every fleet, every system, every communication was recorded and analyzed. Humans had predicted this moment. They had waited for it. "This is it," the human commander said quietly. "The Empire believes they can strike us with sheer force. Let them come. Every move, every desperation, every mistake will serve our purpose. Today we finish this." The Ghost Fleet prepared. Cloaking systems activated. Energy weapons powered to maximum. Missiles armed silently. AI-guided drones stood ready. Every human ship knew its role. Every strike was rehearsed. Every plan calculated down to the second. In the void between star systems, the alien fleet began to gather. Hundreds of ships formed massive formations. Battleships bristling with energy cannons, cruisers armored in reinforced alloys, and fleets of fighters ready to overwhelm any resistance. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. "They think their numbers matter," the human commander said. "They do not know. They never understood humans." The aliens advanced cautiously, their sensors scanning for threats yet detecting nothing. Every fleet assumed they would surprise the humans, strike decisively, and restore the Empire's dominance. But humans had hidden across multiple systems, waiting for the moment when the Emperor's arrogance would betray him. The first wave struck silently. Cloaked human fighters darted from multiple directions, striking supply convoys and communication hubs. Missiles tore through engines, energy beams crippled shields, and entire fleets were disabled before the main alien formation even noticed. Panic rippled through the ranks. The Emperor's voice boomed across the fleet. "Attack!" Every ship fire. "Hunt the humans! Do not let them escape!" But humans were already gone, melted into the darkness. Every ambush had been predicted. Every path carefully planned. The Empire's most powerful weapons were ineffective against enemies they could not see, anticipate, or track. Across the battlefield, the human fleet executed the next phase of their plan. Small ships infiltrated orbital stations, sabotaging weapon systems. Fighters struck isolated cruisers, disabling engines. Supply lines were destroyed. Colonies in the path of the advancing fleet were evacuated or fortified with human-controlled drones, creating traps and ambush points. The alien fleet, massive as it was, began to fracture. Communication failures, destroyed supply lines, and sudden ambushes caused confusion. Orders were ignored, formations broke apart, and fleets became vulnerable. Panic spread from ship to ship. The Emperor's hope began to crumble. The human commander observed silently. "Every move they make reinforces our advantage. Let them break themselves. Let their desperation be their weapon. Humans do not need brute force, they use intelligence, precision, and fear." Then came the decisive moment. The main human fleet struck the heart of the alien formation. Cloaked ships appeared from every direction. Energy beams tore through battleships. Missiles targeted command vessels. Fighters swarmed like shadows, invisible yet lethal. Within minutes, the largest alien ships were crippled or destroyed. The Emperor could not believe it. "Impossible. How can one species do this?" he shouted. His advisors trembled. Generals fell silent. Fleets scattered, unable to respond. The humans had planned for this. Every alien reaction had been anticipated. Every attempt to regroup or counterattack had been predicted. The Empire, for all its power and history, was being dismantled in hours by a fleet that seemed to appear from nowhere. Across multiple star systems, human strikes continued. Supply lines destroyed, colonies isolated, fleets ambushed. Every corner of the Empire was under pressure. Fear spread faster than destruction. Alien soldiers questioned their leaders. Colonies began evacuations. Communication broke down. The Empire was collapsing faster than any one battle could explain. In one daring maneuver, a small human strike team infiltrated the Emperor's personal flagship. Cloaked and silent, they bypassed defenses, sabotaging weapon systems and disabling shields. The flagship, once the pride of the Empire, now drifted powerless, vulnerable to attacks from human ships waiting in shadows. The Emperor's face was pale with disbelief. His power, his fleets, his empire, None of it could withstand the precision, strategy, and patience of humanity. Finally, the human commander ordered the final wave. Hundreds of cloaked ships appeared simultaneously around the remaining alien fleets. Energy beams tore through shields. Missiles struck engines. Fighters disabled command systems. Entire fleets shattered, leaving only debris drifting silently in space. The Emperor's fleet, the last hope of the Empire, was destroyed. Panic and despair consumed the Council. Colonies surrendered. Fleets scattered into the void, leaderless, hopeless. The once mighty Empire had been dismantled not by brute force but by strategy, intelligence, and the terrifying precision of humans. The human commander addressed his fleet. The Empire believed it could destroy us. It believed one ship would end humanity. It believed numbers, strength, and arrogance were enough. It was wrong. Humans survive. Humans adapt. Humans strike when the enemy least expects it. And humans never forgive. The Ghost Fleet melted into darkness once more. Across the galaxy, the alien empire was no more. Fear, precision, and intelligence had won, and humanity had returned stronger and more unstoppable than anyone could have imagined. Legends of the Ghost Fleet spread instantly. Tales of invisible human ships, unstoppable strategy, and precise strikes inspired fear, awe, and respect across alien civilizations. Humanity had not just survived, it had returned as a force beyond reckoning. The Emperor, stripped of his fleet and powerless, realized the truth too late. The humans he thought were weak, scattered, and insignificant were the galaxy's greatest predators. One ship had been destroyed. The rest of humanity had risen. The galaxy would never forget that day, and humans would never stop. The galaxy had never been quieter. For centuries, the alien empire had ruled with absolute authority, its fleets dominating every sector, its colonies loyal and orderly. But now silence reigned. Where once massive fleets had filled the void, now only drifting debris and abandoned worlds remained. Entire colonies lay empty. Communication networks were shattered. Star systems, once under the firm grasp of the Empire, were now fractured, isolated, and leaderless. And humanity had returned. The Ghost Fleet moved silently across the stars. Cloaking fields hummed softly as human ships drifted past the remnants of the alien forces. Every vessel, from the smallest scout to the largest battleship, was a masterpiece of strategy, stealth, and precision. Every human knew that the galaxy had changed and there was no room for hesitation. The human commander stood on the bridge of the lead ship. Holographic displays showed the shattered remnants of the Empire, isolated fleets, and unprotected colonies. He did not speak, but his presence commanded the room. Officers and crew moved with calm efficiency, aware that every second counted. Humanity was not just surviving, it was ascending. "Sir," a young officer said quietly, "the Emperor's flagship is drifting near the outer rim. No defenses, no fleet support, just it." The commander nodded. "Good, prepare the operation. This is more than a strike. It is the final message. Humanity does not negotiate. Humanity does not forgive. Humanity decides." The human fleet split into multiple groups. Cloaked fighters darted ahead, mapping the fastest, safest paths through asteroid fields and debris. Bombers loaded with precision missiles readied themselves. Energy weapons hummed in anticipation. Drones were deployed, scanning planetary surfaces for survivors, installations, and communication arrays. Every move had been planned, predicted, and executed in simulations dozens of times. Meanwhile, the remnants of the alien leadership gathered aboard the Emperor's flagship. Fear was etched into every face. The Emperor himself sat in his command throne, surrounded by generals and advisors who no longer dared to speak freely. The galaxy they had once dominated was now a graveyard. Communication with outer fleets had failed. Colonies were in chaos. Panic reigned where obedience had once ruled. The Emperor's voice was a whisper, low and trembling. We cannot lose. Humanity, they cannot be everywhere. We will strike. We must strike." A senior general knelt beside him, shaking. "Your Majesty, our fleets are gone. Supply lines destroyed. Colonies cut off. Humanity is everywhere. We cannot fight them." The Emperor's eyes burned with fury, but even he knew the truth. "Then we fight anyway." The human fleet approached the flagship, still cloaked, still unseen. Missiles silently locked onto critical systems. Fighters prepared to breach the hull. Drones scouted for weaknesses in orbital defenses. Humans had no need for fear. They had studied, predicted, and outmaneuvered the Empire at every step. This was the final move. The Emperor's reign and the Empire's domination would end here. Then at the precise moment the human fleet struck. Cloaked ships appeared from every direction, emerging from the shadows like a tide of invisible predators. Missiles ripped through engines. Energy beams tore through shields. Fighters swarmed the flagship with deadly precision, boarding parties infiltrating from multiple points. The Emperor's fleet, the last vestige of the Empire's power, fell apart instantly. Orders were ignored. Communication failed. Massive ships were destroyed in seconds. Panic spread through every corner of the flagship. And through it all, the humans moved as one. Silent, unstoppable, lethal. On the bridge of the lead human ship, the commander watched the operation unfold. They believed numbers, technology, and arrogance could protect them. They were wrong. Humanity strikes with intelligence, precision, and patience. Humanity is unstoppable. The Emperor attempted to fire the flagship's primary weapon. Energy beams flared across the void, but human shields absorbed the impact. Cloaked fighters bypassed defenses, striking critical control nodes. Missiles destroyed engines, leaving the ship drifting helplessly in space. Within moments, the once mighty flagship was crippled, surrounded by invisible human ships ready to deliver the final blow. "Target the command deck," the commander ordered. "No survivors. Let the galaxy know what humanity can do." Boarding drones entered the flagship, disabling weapons and isolating command systems. The Emperor, realizing his fate, rose from his throne. His clawed hands shook with rage and disbelief. "Impossible. Humans, one ship, destroyed. They have returned." But the humans did not hesitate. Boarding parties reached the command deck. Systems were shut down. The Emperor's advisors were neutralized. The flagship, symbol of the Empire's might, was now powerless. Within minutes, the last trace of organized alien military power in the sector was gone. Across the galaxy, the pattern repeated. Human fleets moved from system to system, dismantling remaining resistance, liberating colonies, and securing strategic positions. Entire star systems fell without a single large-scale battle. The Empire was finished. In the council chambers of surviving alien worlds, generals and ministers sat in stunned silence. The Emperor's final fleet had been destroyed. Colonies were surrendered. Communication networks had collapsed. Fear, panic, and despair ruled. The once mighty Empire had crumbled not with a roar, but with the calculated precision of human strategy. Meanwhile, humans prepared for the next phase, establishing control, securing liberated worlds, and preparing the galaxy for a new order. Cloaked ships patrolled the sectors, preventing uprisings or rebellions. Drones repaired communication networks, re-established trade routes, and ensured that no remnants of the Empire could regain strength. The human commander addressed his fleet. "Humanity has returned. The Empire believed it could destroy us. They believed one ship could end us. They were wrong. The galaxy will remember today. Humans survive, humans strike, and humans decide the future." On the battlefield, alien soldiers surrendered, fleets fled, and colonies opened their gates. Fear had defeated arrogance. Intelligence had outmaneuvered strength. Humanity had not only survived, they had conquered the impossible. Across liberated sectors, humans established new governance, ensuring that no remnants of the Empire could threaten the galaxy again. Scientific outposts were established. Colonies were rebuilt. Communications restored. And everywhere, humans were remembered not as conquerors but as protectors, strategists, and legends. Stories of the Ghost Fleet spread across alien civilizations like wildfire. Tales of invisible ships, precise strikes, and unstoppable strategy inspired awe and fear. The galaxy whispered of humanity's return, no longer as weak survivors but as the greatest power in history. The Emperor, now a prisoner aboard the last surviving human ship, watched in silence. His empire, built over millennia, had crumbled in days. He realized finally the terrible truth. Humans, underestimated and dismissed, were the galaxy's ultimate predators. One destroyed ship had awakened a force no one could stop. The human commander looked out at the stars, calm and resolute. "The galaxy has seen humanity's power. They have seen what we can do, and they will never underestimate us again." The Ghost Fleet melted into the darkness once more, unseen, unstoppable, and legendary. Humanity had returned, not as victims, not as negotiators, but as the defining force of the galaxy. And the galaxy, silent and trembling, finally understood the truth. Humanity had ascended.